Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. Now I'm just gonna warn you guys, just understand this is gonna be be a really extremely long episode, longest I ever will ever do. And two, it's about race and pretty much all the issues that's going on right now. Um, so please, if you can, if you listen to the whole thing, just know it's gonna probably be an hour and a half, and just understand something too. It's just how I feel about things. Um, if you agree with them, agree with them. If you don't, I understand. Um, but this is how I feel about the whole situation. But like I said, it's gonna be it's gonna touch on a lot of sensitive topics, and there's gonna be a lot of graphic things that are said or that are talk about whatever. But just understand, this is how I feel about things, how I feel about everything that's been going on. Not about COVID, but about the George Floyd killing and racial issues that we face in America right now. Now, I'm going to first start out by playing a recording from the New York Times from NewYorkTimes.com. Pretty much, they put together a video explaining pretty much what happened on May 25th. All right, guys, listen to this.
It's a Monday evening in Minneapolis. Police respond to a call about a man who allegedly used a counterfeit $20 bill to buy cigarettes. 17 minutes later, the man they are there to investigate lies motionless on the ground and is pronounced dead shortly after. The man was 46-year-old George Floyd, a bouncer originally from Houston who'd lost his job at a restaurant when the coronavirus pandemic hit. Floyd's death triggered major protests in Minneapolis and sparked rage across the country. One of the officers involved, Derek Chauvin, has been arrested and charged with second-degree murder. The other three officers have been charged with aiding and abetting murder. The Times analyzed bystander videos, security camera footage, and police scanner audio, spoke to witnesses and experts, and reviewed documents released by the authorities to build as comprehensive a picture as possible and better understand how George Floyd died in police custody. The events of May 25th begin here. Floyd is sitting in the driver's seat of this blue SUV. Across the street is a convenience store called Cup Foods. Footage from this restaurant's security camera helps us understand what happens next. Note that the timestamp on the camera is 24 minutes fast. At 7:57 p.m., two employees from Cup Foods confront Floyd and his companions about an alleged counterfeit bill he just used in their store to buy cigarettes. They demand the cigarettes back, but walk away empty-handed. 4 minutes later, they call the police. According to the 911 transcript, an employee says that Floyd used fake bills to buy cigarettes and that he is awfully drunk and not in control of himself. Soon, the first police vehicle arrives on the scene. Officers Thomas Lane and J. Alexander Koenig step out of the car and approach the blue SUV. Seconds later, Lane pulls his gun, we don't know exactly why, and orders Floyd to put his hands on the wheel. Lane reholsters the gun, and after about 90 seconds of back and forth, yanks Floyd out of the SUV. A man is filming the confrontation from a car parked behind them. The officers cuff Floyd's hands behind his back, and Koenig walks him to the restaurant wall.
All right, what's your name?
From the 911 transcript and the footage, we now know three important facts. First, that the police believed they were responding to a man who was drunk and out of control. But second, even though the police were expecting this situation, we can see that Floyd has not acted violently. And third, that he seems to already be in distress. 6 minutes into the arrest, the two officers move Floyd back to their vehicle. As the officers approach their car, we can see Floyd fall to the ground. According to the criminal complaints filed against the officers, Floyd says he is claustrophobic and refuses to enter the police car. During the struggle, Floyd appears to turn his head to address the officers multiple times. According to the complaints, he tells them he can't breathe. 9 minutes into the arrest, the third and final police car arrives on the scene. It's carrying officers Tu Tao and Derek Chauvin. Both have previous records of complaints brought against them. Tao was once sued for throwing a man to the ground and hitting him. Chauvin has been involved in 3 police shootings, one of them fatal. Chauvin becomes involved in the struggle to get Floyd into the car. Security camera footage from Cup Foods shows Koenig struggling with Floyd in the back seat while Tao watches. Chauvin pulls him through the back seat and onto the street. We don't know why. Floyd is now lying on the pavement, face down. That's when 2 witnesses begin filming, almost simultaneously. The footage from the first witness shows us that all 4 officers are now gathered around Floyd. It's the first moment when we can clearly see that Floyd is face down on the ground, with 3 officers applying pressure to his neck, torso, and legs. At 8:20 p.m., we hear Floyd's voice for the first time.
Please.
The video stops when Lane appears to tell the person filming to walk away. The officers radio a code 2, a call for non-emergency medical assistance, reporting an injury to Floyd's mouth. In the background, we can hear Floyd struggling. The call is quickly upgraded to a code 3, a call for emergency medical assistance. By now, another bystander, 17-year-old Darnella Frazier, is filming from a different angle. Her footage shows that despite calls for medical help, Chauvin keeps Floyd pinned down for another 7 minutes. We can't see whether Koenig and Lane are still applying pressure.
What do you want? I can breathe. Please, the knee in my neck. I can breathe here.
Bro, get up, get in the car, man.
I will.
Get up, get in the car.
I can't move.
I've been waiting the whole time. Get up, get in the car.
Mama.
Get up, get in the car right.
I can't.
In the 2 videos, Floyd can be heard telling officers that he can't breathe at least 16 times in less than 5 minutes.
I cannot breathe. I cannot breathe.
But Chauvin never takes his knee off of Floyd, even as his eyes close and he appears to go unconscious.
Look at him. Get off him now. What the? He got mace. He got mace.
According to medical and policing experts, these 4 police officers are committing a series of actions that violate policies and in this case turn fatal. They've kept Floyd lying face down, applying pressure for at least 5 minutes. This combined action is likely compressing his chest and making it impossible to breathe. Chauvin is pushing his knee into Floyd's neck, a move banned by most police departments.
Bro, he's not moving.
No, they can kill him, bro.
Minneapolis Police Department policy states an officer can only do this if someone is, quote, actively resisting. And even though the officers call for medical assistance, they take no action to treat Floyd on their own while waiting for the ambulance to arrive.
You think that's okay? Check his pulse. Check his right. Check his pulse. Check. The man ain't moved yet, bro.
According to the complaints against the officers, Lane asks him twice if they should roll Floyd onto his side. Chauvin says no. 20 minutes into the arrest, an ambulance arrives on the scene.
Get off of his neck.
The EMTs check Floyd's pulse.
Are you serious?
Chauvin keeps his knee on Floyd's neck for almost another whole minute, even though Floyd appears completely unresponsive. He only gets off once the EMTs tell him to. Chauvin's kept his knee on Floyd's neck for a total of 8 minutes and 46 seconds, according to the complaint filed against him. Floyd is loaded into the ambulance. The ambulance leaves the scene, possibly because a crowd is forming, but the EMTs call for additional medical help from the fire department.
You added fire to your run.
But when the engine arrives, the officers give them, quote, no clear info on Floyd or his whereabouts, according to a fire department incident report. This delays their ability to help the paramedics. Meanwhile, Floyd is going into cardiac arrest.
320. If you could let MSD know that EMS needs the fire needs to go to 1436 and station the pole left now.
It takes the engine 5 minutes to reach Floyd and the ambulance. He's pronounced dead at a nearby hospital around 9:25 p.m.
Well, guys, I figure I played that for you. Some people might not know. I doubt it, but people may not know what's going on. That was from NewYorkTimes.com. They pretty much broke down the whole video, the whole scene, what happened with George Floyd on May 25th. It's very, very scary. Forget about for a second, forget about being black. For a second, just seeing something like that. I mean, I'm sure everybody has seen the video. Just having this know that somebody can be handcuffed and have their knee on their neck like that is crazy. Is the fact that you have the audacity or the I don't know, the ability to do that to somebody else. I mean, people have committed way worse crimes, of course, genocides and all that kind of stuff, but that's just crazy. And you're there to protect somebody. You're there to protect the people, you know. So it's just really, really scary to see something like that. Like I said, forget about the color of his skin, but just so you could do something like that, and it's crazy. So anyway, I didn't really want to do something like this because it's probably done many, many times. And I'm just trying to get all the information in myself anyway. I'm still learning as much as I can, and not just about this case, about what's just going on in general. And so I wanted to do it. No one's home right now, and no one, pretty much no one can interrupt me. So this might be like an hour-long podcast. I went for my run, came back. I feel like my head is a lot clearer. When I run or exercise, my head is a lot clearer. So just finished my 4-mile run, and feel more, feel okay to talk about this. So, I mean, honestly, I'm not okay about talking about this because it still bothers me that there is all this kind of stuff going on. It's, the racism, the police brutality, white supremacy, and all this kind of stuff still going on. Is 2020. This country is almost like 5 years, not 5 years, 500 or almost 500, 400 years old, 500 years old. And this is still going on. It's just to me, it's honestly, it's just mind blowing. And now I'm black, half black to get technical. I'm half Indian, half I'm from Jamaica, but I'm half Indian, half black. And I've experienced things a little bit differently than most people have. Most black born people have. And I was telling my wife this. Me coming to this country from Jamaica is, the land of opportunity and the land of milk and honey and all that kind of stuff, whatever they say. So I just see this place as a land of opportunity away from me. I can better myself compared to being in Jamaica. And my mom brought us here, and she worked hard. We did it legally, of course. Got papers. Now I'm a U.S. citizen. Not dual citizenship, but I'm just an American citizen. But there's a couple things that I remember my mom teaching me when I was growing up, and it's one, she didn't know. she was black until she came to this country. She didn't know that until she was black, till she came to this country. Now, of course, she did know, you know. But think about what she just said, though. Think about it, because I want you to think about the melting pot theory of, oh, America's a melting pot, America's a melting pot. I personally don't think so. There's a lot of different races, a lot of different cultures, and so on and so forth. But there's a lot of still a lot of racism. Now, if we go to Jamaica, I think Jamaica is a melting pot because we have whites that are considered Jamaican or born in Jamaica, Asians or yeah, Asians, and of course blacks that are considered Jamaican. Now, why are there and Indians of course that are Jamaican? Now, why are there Indians in Jamaica? Why are, all this kind of different cultures? I mean, one being the fact that England controlled India and Jamaica, brought slaves from India to Jamaica, that kind of thing, to tend to the sugarcane fields and all that kind of stuff. It is what it is. But anyway, long story short, we got our independence and all this stuff, and we, became a real melting pot. So this is one thing I always tell people when I'm trying to educate people, is that if you go to, at least not right now, well, definitely now, whenever, it doesn't matter when, but if you go to somebody that's American and ask them, what are they say right away, I'm black, I'm white, I'm Italian, I'm whatever. They don't say, I'm American. Nine times out of 10, they'll say, I'm black, I'm white, I'm this, I'm Puerto Rican, I'm Spanish, whatever they may say, Hispanic, whatever they may say. But if you go to Jamaica, and I presume other countries too, I don't know, I can't speak of any other countries, but if you go to anybody in Jamaica, you ask them, what are you? I'm Jamaican. But then, then you have to specifically ask for, oh, I mean, but you look light skinned and you look white, and so what are you, oh, I'm hot, well, my grandparents are white, or this, all this kind of stuff. And that's what's mind blowing to me. America is, to me, supposed to be, and it is, don't get to a certain extent, it is, it is a great country, and I'm happy to be here, but like all the countries, I'm not saying Jamaica's perfect. I'm not saying, of course, all the places aren't perfect, but America does have its faults. I mean, the shames, the Native Americans, the slavery, the lynching, and that's another thing, lynching, and I find this crazy. Lynching is still not a federal crime. That's what's crazy. 2020, and lynching is not a federal crime, not a federal hate crime. I mean, is it a crime to a certain extent? But yeah, but you could get maybe 5 years or so or something or whatever for it. 10 years, if anything. Depending on how, what you are. Most likely you're a white person that doing the lynching, and you can probably get even less time. I look at this, and I'm not, of course it's gonna go into white privilege and the discussion, but and I'm gonna probably bring this up again later. But there's a perfect example. This white guy tried to steal, black guy tried to steal, I don't know what, something insignificant. A $9 something, like a bread, or not bread, but something, not for $9. Or stole $9, or something like that. This guy got 38 years in prison. He's still serving time now, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe he's out now. But he's old. He's a black guy, old black guy. He's old, and, 38 years in prison. This white kid, of course he has money, privilege, of course, raped a woman. She was white, but raped a woman behind the dumpster after a club or whatever and all this kind of stuff, and only got 6 months in jail. 6 months in jail. And knowing how, how it usually goes, it probably wasn't like the big the pen the pen, penitentiary or whatever. It was like some, soft prison. But he got 6 months for raping a woman. And then the dad goes say, please don't hurt Sully his name. He doesn't deserve this. Please don't, whatever, attack him and all kind of stuff. you know, he's gonna mess up his life, but you messed up that girl's life. You messed up that girl's life. For her to get married, for her to have kids and all this kind of stuff, you messed up her life. That boy messed up that woman's life. But yet he only got 6 months in jail. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So, like this country has given me a lot. Um, I'm happy to be here. Um, and there's a lot of opportunity here. You just have to work hard. And that's why there's something else that I think is America isn't great, hasn't been great, and to me, it won't be great until everybody is equal. Women, blacks, whites, it doesn't really matter. I don't think this country will be great until that happens. So they keep saying make America great again. And that's pretty much, yes, from the white point of view, where most of them, let's be honest with you, most of them that are saying that or wants it to go back to where whites are in control and, you know, slavery still going on or back at it again, whatever you want to say, you know, and I understand what they're trying to push when I first heard it, I kind of understood, but then you realize who's saying it, and then I realized, okay, that's what they really want. They really want slavery to come back, you know, and it's crazy. All right, say I like to think things from the big picture, I like to see things. So let's say, hypothetically speaking, one, slavery happens again. Let's say that, hypothetically speaking, it's gonna be completely different. And honestly, I don't see it ever will happen. Let's be honest, it will never happen. Because you have something like that. First of all, I'm gonna say most whites won't approve of that. You have other cultures here, other religions here, other people here. So that's not gonna happen. Let's be honest with you, it's not gonna happen. And then let's say, hypothetically speaking, we go, quote unquote, go back to where we're from. We go back to Africa. Let's just, so let's say this, they tell us to go back to Africa, and we go back to Africa. It's not gonna be the same. Most of these wealthy people make money off of black people spending money. Let's be serious. Most of these white companies make money off of black people. The Nikes, the jewelry companies, all these different companies, because you have black people that decide to I'm just gonna spend all my money and do all this stuff. And don't get me wrong, there's other white people that spend whatever, but there's some white people that's smart enough to not spend money on materialistic things. I'm not saying all black people do that, but most black people are trained or see it in the rap videos and all that kind of stuff and think it's okay to spend money like that. Don't get me wrong, I see stuff and I want stuff too. At a certain extent, I can be materialistic myself. Everyone is really to a certain extent materialistic. Is usually something like, say, for instance, someone loves the shoes. They'll spend God knows how much money on shoes, but they won't spend something on their cars. Some people spend money on their cars, but won't spend money on shoes and this and that. And some people, honestly are smart. They spend money on a house and don't care about their car, don't care about their clothes, don't care about anything else because it doesn't appreciate in value. It depreciates. As soon as you buy sneakers, as soon as you buy cars, it depreciates right away. Unless it's like some type of Jordan that's, whatever. So, I mean, I I just honestly am worried right now about how things are going, the protests, the negative side of the protests, meaning the riots and the looting and everything. But I wanna share a little sound bite of what someone said on Instagram, and it was very, very interesting about the whole idea of looting. And let's see if I can get it.
I'm I've been seeing a lot of things talking of the people making commentary. Interestingly enough, the ones I've noticed that have been making the commentary are wealthy black people making the commentary about we should not be rioting, we should not be looting, we should not be tearing up our own communities. And then there's been an argument of the other side of we should be hitting them in the pocket. We should be focusing on the blackout days where we don't spend money. But, you know, I feel like we should do both. And I feel like I support both. And I'll tell you why I support both. I support both because when you have a civil unrest like this, there are three types of people in the streets. There are the protesters, there are the rioters, and there are the looters. The protesters are there because they actually care about what is happening in the community. They want to raise their voices, and they are there strictly to protest. You have the rioters who are angry, who are anarchists, who really just want to fuck shit up, and that's what they're going to do regardless. And then you have the looters. And the looters almost exclusively are just there to do that, to loot. Now, people are like, well, what did you gain? Well, what did you get from looting? I think that as long as we're focusing on the what, we're not focusing on the why. And that's my issue with that. As long as we're focusing on what they're doing, we're not focusing on why they're doing. And some people are like, well, those aren't people who are legitimately angry about what's happening. Those are people who just want to get stuff. Okay, well then, let's go with that. Let's say that's what it is. Let's ask ourselves why in this country in 2020, the financial gap between poor blacks and the rest of the world is at such a distance that people feel like their only hope and only opportunity to get some of the things that we flaunt and flash in front of them all the time is to walk through a broken glass window and get it. That they are so hopeless that getting that necklace, getting that TV, getting that change, getting that bed, getting that phone, whatever it is that they're going to get, is that in that moment when the riots happen and if they present an opportunity of looting, that's their only opportunity to get it. We need to be questioning that why. Why are people that poor? Why are people that broke? Why are people that food insecure, that clothing insecure, that they feel like their only shot, that they are shooting their shot by walking through a broken glass window to get what they need. And then people want to talk about, well, there's plenty of people who pulled themselves up out of their bootstraps and got it on their own. Why can't they do that? Let me explain to you something about economics in America. And I'm so glad that as a child, I got an opportunity to spend time at Push where they taught me this, is that we must never forget that economics was the reason that black people were brought to this country. We came to do the agricultural work in the South and the textile work in the North. Do you understand that? That's what we came to do. We came to do the agricultural work in the South and the textile work in the North. Now, if I right now decided that I wanted to play Monopoly with you, and for 400 rounds of playing Monopoly, I didn't allow you to have any money, I didn't allow you to have anything on the board, I didn't allow for you to have anything. And then we played another 50 rounds of Monopoly, and everything that you gained and you earned while you were playing that round of Monopoly was taken from you. That was Tulsa. That was Rosewood. Those are places where we built black economic wealth, where we were self-sufficient, where we owned our stores, where we owned our property, and they burned them to the ground. So that's 450 years. So for 400 rounds of Monopoly, you don't get to play at all. Not only do you not get to play, you have to play on the behalf of the person that you're playing against. You have to play and make money and earn wealth for them, and then you have to turn it over to them. So then for 50 years, you finally get a little bit and you're allowed to play. And every time that they don't like the way that you're playing, or that you're catching up, or that you're doing something to be self-sufficient, they burn your game. They burn your cards. They burn your Monopoly money. And then, finally, at the release and the onset of that, they allow you to play and they say, okay, now you catch up. Now, at this point, the only way you're going to catch up in the game is if the person shares the wealth, correct? But what if every time you share the wealth, then there's psychological warfare against you to say, oh, you're an equal opportunity hire. So if I played 400 rounds of Monopoly with you and I had to play and give you every dime that I made, and then for 50 years, every time that I played, and you didn't like what I did, you got to burn it like they did in Tulsa and like they did in Rosewood, how can you win? How can you win? You can't win. The game is fixed. anything. Trevor Noah said it so beautifully last night. There's a social contract that we all have. That if you steal or if I steal, then the person who is the authority comes in and they fix the situation. But the person who fixes the situation is killing us. So the social contract is broken. And if the social contract is broken, why the fuck do I give a shit about burning the fucking Football Hall of Fame, about burning a fucking Target? You broke the contract when you killed us in the streets and didn't give a fuck. You broke the contract when for 400 years we played your game and built your wealth. You broke the contract when we built our wealth again on our own, by our bootstraps in Tulsa, and you dropped bombs on us. When we built it in Rosewood and you came in and you slaughtered us. You broke the contract, so fuck your Target. Fuck your Hall of Fame. As far as I'm concerned, they could burn this bitch to the ground. And it still wouldn't be enough. And they are lucky that what black people are looking for is equality and not revenge.
All right, that was from Kimberly Latrice Jones. I watched it from The Real Tank, his Instagram page, but she was the one that said all that stuff. I mean, after hearing that, what else can you say? Like, what can you say to really defend everything that's going on, or not defend everything, well, or say, what's going on is wrong, the protesting is wrong, all this other stuff is wrong. Um, it's crazy. It's crazy that 2020 this is still going on, and she has to say something like that, and she's completely accurate. I learned about the Black Wall Street, or what happened in Tulsa. Um, Before this, I had to look up what happened with Rosewood, but pretty much the same effect. I think that Tulsa was more successful though, because there was doctors there, there was people, blacks, that owned their own stores. It was like a lot of wealth there, a lot of wealth. But something happened where involving a white woman, both cases involving a white woman. Um, she said that how some black guy did something to her, and um, come to find out it wasn't as true as she says. And but anyway, long story short is, all black people in that area was slaughtered. Um, some people, the number, it was only 50, or no, some it was in the hundreds, way over the hundreds. So, and then of course in Rosewood, it was another white woman that said that a black man came in and assaulted her. He didn't rape her, but he assaulted her. And then eventually the word started going around in the white community that he did rape her and robbed her. But then come to find out that it it was actually a side piece, or a lover, because she was married. When her husband left, this guy one day, it was a New Year's Day or something, January 1st, 1923, I guess they had a little rendezvous or something, whatever. And she was screamed, and I guess he was upset with her, the lover, her lover, and hit her. But then instead of saying, that, hey, no, is this what happened? Of course, she wanted to deny it and blame it on a black man. And so what happens? Coincidence that it was a black man that actually escaped from a jail, or something to that effect. Long story short, they were slaughtered too. Um, and it was crazy. I mean, the governor, it was in Florida, Rosewood, Florida, and it was Tulsa, Arizona, the other one. Um, but in Florida, the governor reached out to the sheriff and said, hey, do you need help? Should we send a National Guard or whatever? And the sheriff said, no, we'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. And it was interesting. That governor just went hunting after that. They went on a hunting trip. You have something like that going on, and this is mind you, like day 2, day 3 after when everything happened, after everything was, and you're governor and you don't do anything about it. You don't go and see what's going on for yourself. I mean, I'll be honest with you. This is one of the reasons why I'm going to the South. I mean, yeah, it was in Florida, and Florida's more diverse. But Florida I would go. I mean, I've been there a few times, but when it comes to like Mississippi, Arizona, well, not really Arizona, but Mississippi, Alabama, I would never want to go down there, because I would love to do a road trip across the United States. Like I said, this is a great country, absolutely great country. The history, there's negative history, but there's also positive things, great things that happen. And then that's another thing too. Speaking of history, is like we're taught in school about the great things white men did. And I'm gonna say white men did. And that's the whole thing I want people to understand. White men did. All the incredible things white men did. There weren't white women that did anything. I mean, white women kind of, in my mind, to a certain extent, they kind of stood by and watched everything happen, And in some cases like these, they caused things to happen. But there's a lot of great white women that did things. Not just talk about gun slavery, what I'm not talking about that, but just to help build this country. And a lot of course, of course, I'm not gonna, forget what blacks did, what Asians did, and all these other cultures and religions and all these different kind of groups that came into this country that made it great. But you don't read about that. You read about the white men that did everything, white men, and and the history books are trying to change everything up. They're trying to get rid of the Trail of Tears when they have the Native Americans walk this long ass trail, and they died on the way. Most of them died on the way just to get to these reservations and have them stay there. And that's something else too. You have the American shames, what they did to the slavery, what they did to blacks, and then the American shame of what they did to the Native Americans. And Native Americans themselves is still going through hell. I mean, we're going through hell too. I guess I think honestly, we're quote unquote freer or free compared to the Native Americans because we're so many of us. There's so many of us compared to the Native Americans. If there were more Native Americans, there'll probably be the same thing going on with them too. I don't even know. I personally haven't met anybody that is a Native American. I mean, I live on the East Coast. Majority, from what I understand, they're on the West Coast. Central, maybe Central, in the Central, but on the West Coast, that's what I understand. And they're still being disrespected. I don't get it. And then it's something else that I learned, and that was very interesting. When slavery was abolished and quote unquote blacks were free, there was reparations I was given. A lot of people don't realize that. A lot of people don't know that because I didn't know that. I'm not saying the smartest person, but I for most part pay attention to history for certain extent. I'm not whatever. But anyway, so there were reparations given, but reparations were given to the slave owners. So every slave that you lost, you got a certain amount of money. I think the total amount of money that the government spent was it $20 million? And that was a lot for back then. It was 20 million or 2 million, something like that. But anyway, all the slave owners were giving money because all the slaves that they lost. Blacks weren't given anything. But reparations were given, but to the slave owners that lost their slaves. So it's like I said, all this stuff is just crazy. It's just crazy to me. But I'm seeing things that just kind of warm my heart because there's a lot of negative. The people are gonna talk more about the negative side of things, the white supremacy, the bad cops. There's cops coming out. There's videos coming out with cops being assholes and everything like that. For instance, there's there's two things I want to talk about. There's a cop, and if you guys don't follow me on any other social media, I've said it myself. I reach out to cops that I know and hey, how you doing? Because I know how hard it is can be to be a cop. I know how hard I understand. I say I know, but I understand it can be very difficult. Same thing as being very difficult to be a teacher, especially being a teacher. But I understand that. But I reach out to them and say, hey, how you doing? 'Cause there's one thing that happened I remember. There's a video I saw. This police officer, he's a white guy. And I think the guy that came up on him was black, if I'm not mistaken. He was pumping gas, yeah, in his patrol car. He's in uniform. And this guy walked up on him from behind and shot him in the head. Now, I don't know what happened. I don't know the backstory. I don't know anything. Either way, that shouldn't have happened. That's some scary shit. But then again, is people hearing this and saying, oh, that's one cop compared to how many black people that kill. I understand that. I understand that. But let's say, hypothetically speaking, he was one of those good cops. Just good cops. And this guy that he just saw the badge. He just saw the uniform. He didn't see who this guy was. And that's the same thing what a lot of these cops do to black people. If a routine traffic stop, speeding, everyone speeds. But then, some people get caught, but then when it's a black person get caught, you have to be careful. There's one video I saw recently, actually a few hours ago. This one is a woman that was on this kid's neck. Black guy was on white. I think she was more like Hispanic. She was on his neck, and he showed a video of them pretty much doing the same thing what they did to George Floyd. And you see there's 4 cops on top of him, for his hand, he's handcuffed and all this stuff. So the video he's going on and the woman screaming, I don't know if she said stop, or stop resisting or whatever. I don't know what she said. But something about the cell phone, because the woman's like trying to get her phone, but it's not his phone, it's her, whatever, some bullshit. So anyway, the video cuts off right when another cop, a white cop, is bending over. He's on his knees already, but he's bending over to talk to the guy saying, hey, are you injured? The video cuts off after he says that. And that's what why don't you show something like that? Yes, it looks bad, but there's a different result. I don't know. I mean, hopefully this kid survived, but it's a different result. Most likely it's a different result. If the fact that he took the time to say, hey, are you injured? You didn't hear the kid respond, the video just stopped. And it's crazy. So we need to stop looking so much at a negative, because I've done it. I went online, Twitter, Facebook, and I see the negative. I get angrier and angrier and angrier. But there are good things going on. I see cops. It's just kind of weird to see it. But cops with protesters doing the electric slide or the whatever the hell it is. It's nice, it's sweet, But at the end of the day, things have to be done. You have to change these laws. Things have to happen at a higher level to stop this bullshit from happening. But there's something else that I'm seeing that really warms my heart. And it's when I see other cultures, other countries, other people besides black people marching in these protests. I have one of my clients who's Jewish. He was marching in a town near us. Him and his daughter. That to me, that's incredible. And a lot of people are more aware of what's going on. White people, different cultures are more aware of what's going on. Because before it was kind of like a joke about it, even in the black people too. Like there's a lot of comedy skits about it. Black people talk about the police brutality. There's one of Dave Chappelle saying that how you have to make sure you have an alibi. You take a picture of the newspaper. It was funny. Everyone laughed, but it's reality. It's a joke, but it's reality and it's true. And there's one about Dave Chappelle saying, the cops were talking. They just about sprinkling crack on him. Don't worry about it. Sprinkle some crack on him. We'll get out of here or whatever. And that's how it was. Now imagine and it's all this stuff is being televised right now. People have cell phones, cameras, or all that kind of stuff. It's probably an invention that is pretty much backfiring on whoever, let's say hypothetically speaking, some rich white person that had a camera phone or whatever. I don't know who invented the camera phone, but it's pretty much backfiring. It's actually helping us. It's helping a lot of people, in a lot of different situations. The whole idea of that woman, that the Amy, I forgot her, Amy Cooper, whatever her name is, called the cops and said that, oh, there's an African American man, he's threatening me and all this kind of stuff. But the black guy had his camera on, showing that he wasn't harassing her, he wasn't threatening her at all. He was just telling her to leash your dog. And while she was damn near strangling the dog, it's this is stuff that happens. And from my personal experience, nothing has ever to the extent has happened. Um, Anything I would consider severe racism compared to what a lot of other people have to deal with. Um, I'm very aware of it. I have mostly dated people, or been involved in a relationship with people that are not black. So if I go to an event or go to a certain restaurant or some whatever, I've noticed right away that's something I'm pretty much trained, quote unquote, trained to do. Realize I'm the only black person in the room. I will also notice that I stay away from certain situations. Like for instance, when I'm running, like I said, I run pretty much 3, 4 times a week, and I'm running and I see a woman unpacking her car. Her car is in the driveway. I'm running on the sidewalk, but I see it. She's unpacking her car. The door is wide open. Her car door, trunk or whatever is open. I will purposely run in the street. Good. If any, I wouldn't go as severe as crossing the street, but I will run in the street to show that I'm not near the car. I'm not trying to steal from her. I'm not trying to hurt her. I'm not trying to do anything to her at all. And I even goes further. Like if I see somebody, no matter who it is, I say hi to them. I smile and say hi to them and say, hey, so people know me and see me on a regular basis because I pretty much take the same route each and every day. So they say, oh, that's that guy again. There's one old lady that smokes on her porch. I wave to her. She's a old white lady. I wave to her. I smile at her. Hey, how you doing? I don't have a conversation with her. I say, hey, how you doing? There's a Muslim guy that owns I think he's Muslim. He has the whole head thing. And I say hi to, hey, buddy, how you doing? While I run by. He smiles back. He waves at me too. Every time I see him. So I make sure to protect myself to know that if some Karen or now is it Dave or Adam? I forgot Ben or something. The male version of Karen, calls the cops on me. Oh, he's running every day. He's like doing this, he's doing that, and I don't like it. I feel uncomfortable. I even wave to cops. If I see a cop and he's driving by, I look in the car, I wave to him and say, to let him know that I'm not a threat. I'm not anything like that. I'm just trying to live my life. And it's just sad that the fact that I have to do that. I mean, I'm a nice guy. I'll do it anyway, but I have to make sure that I portray that I'm a nice, harmless black individual. I'm not gonna hurt anybody. I'm not gonna do anything to steal. I'm not gonna whatever. I mean, personally, when it comes to stealing, I have stole when I was younger. I mean, I was doing, stupid stuff. I'm not gonna lie. I stole a comic book or, whatever, and my mom beat the crap out of me. But um, I've done stuff like that in the past, but I'll never do that ever again. Try to steal because I didn't earn it. I'm at a point in my life where I want to earn what I get. That's why I'm kind of scared. Not scared, but I'm kind of, I don't play the lottery as much as I do because I didn't earn that money, that millions or billions or whatever dollars. I didn't earn it. I mean, I'll do right with the money, whatever, but I want to earn it. I work hard for everything I got. I work hard for everything, everything I have. I worked hard for it. I don't like to ask for help. And actually, recently, I had a discussion with my friends that, Shane, you have to ask for help. You have to ask for help. But it's just like, I don't like to ask for help. If help is given to me, I'll take it, you know, but I'm not gonna ask for it. That's the way I am. I don't like to ask for help. Um, but anyway, it's it's what I have to deal with as of somebody that's of color. Now, granted, if you don't know how I look, I'm light skinned. People usually think I'm Hispanic, Dominican, but yet Dominicans are black, so but whatever. Um, my mom, she's has darker complexion. My twin brother, he has darker complexion. My sister and my brother, my sister and my brother, they are darker complexion too. And so it's it could be worse for them, because of their skin color, because of the tone, the complexion, and all because of it's just crazy because of someone's complexion. We have the same everything, we're all human, but just because of the skin color is what this whole thing's about. And but in my mind, sometimes I think though, let's say, and I talk to my client about this. We talk about politics all the time. And if I was you, from a business standpoint, don't talk about politics. Try to avoid it the best you can. If you have your own business or you're a personal trainer like myself, don't talk about politics. Don't talk about religion. But me and him were comfortable enough to talk about that stuff, and we talked about race, and we said that it seems like it's because I made the point that if we're all purple, let's say we're all purple, we definitely it's like it's human nature to create superiority over another group. So let's say we're all purple, same height, not same height, same, but we're all purple. Oh, you're a different shade of purple. You're not my shade, so you can't hang out with me. Or I'm superior than you. A darker purple means um, more intelligence. A lighter purple means, it's like go back and forth. Then you can talk about same shade of purple, but talk about different heights. Oh, you're shorter, so your brain is not you. There's so sometimes I feel like even if we're all the same color, because you have white people that are white, you have darker toned white people, you have our shades or whatever, then you have the pales, the ones that look completely, white, like, I forgot the movie called Powder or whatever the movie's called. And it seems like it doesn't matter what the case is, they're always gonna be, it's like in human nature. Because it does, from what I understand, you know, there is talk about that. Like there was slavery between this in Africa as well. I mean, it's probably BS. I don't know. I didn't look it up myself. I don't know. But there was slavery between tribes and all that kind of stuff. But that was between tribes. You conquered that, but more that has to do more about conquering another tribe and all this kind of stuff. That has nothing to do with race. That's pretty much about one dominant group, physically dominant, or whatever group attacking another one and enslaving the other one. Is that right? No, that's not right, of course. Live and let live. But it's like in human nature to dominate another group. And then in the black community, there's like, oh, you're light skinned. Oh, that's something light skinned. Oh, you would say, or, darker complexion against a light, all this kind of stuff. So it's like in human nature to actually do this. But when it's just like this blatant at times, because blacks and light skin and dark skin or whatever, it's like most like a joker thing. There's no like aggressive harm. It's more like verbal attacks, if anything. But it's not like physical harm, not verbal harm, physical harm. It's physical harm like whites do to blacks. And yeah, so touch base on what my mom said. One other thing she taught me is the fact that being black in America is a crime in itself. So don't do anything else to make it any worse. And it's true. There's countless videos of seeing now, countless videos of innocent black men just walking the street, just driving their car, living in their own house. This one black guy was just washing his car. And this cop pulled up and said, "We have a warrant for your arrest." They don't even know the guy's name. They didn't even know the black guy's name, but said, we have a warrant for your arrest. And tried to arrest him. He was just washing his car in his own house, in his own driveway. And then they say, you fit the profile. Why? Because he's black? I know that a lot of black people say, oh, they all look alike. We're talking about white people. White people do with black people too, apparently. Oh, they've been doing it for years. I mean, there's so many cases of where mistaken identity or whatever, this person's locked up because of, they fit the profile of being black. And that's it. That's it, just being black. Okay, so if we can't find the one black guy that really did the crime, let's find an innocent black guy and put him in jail, put him in handcuffs. And it's crazy. It's crazy that we're doing this still. We as a people, as a human race, is still doing this. And that's why I'm saying I'm happy that, people in Palestine, all over the damn country, England, all over the damn country, the damn world is protesting because of him, because of what happened. Protesting for George Floyd. Then you have this one woman, I'm not going to say her name because I really don't like her. And she's like saying that she don't like George Floyd because she's black. And she don't like George Floyd because of he's being the martyr of this movement and all this kind of stuff. And talk about how black people are being misguided. And there's like some type of like behind the scenes. There's like some type of plan and there's the black people being manipulated to do. Let's say hypothetically speaking, there are. But at what point is it okay to actually do something like this? At what point do black people have to stand up and fight for something? Fight for their real, actually become free? Because a lot of people agree that this we're still in slavery, but it's a different kind of slavery. We're still being limited to certain things we can do, and we actually do harm to our own selves too. But then, yeah, some people are saying just have the showing that, oh, look, in Chicago, there's the highest death murder rate in the country. In the history of whatever the hell they said. And they're pointing out black on black crime or whatever. But the thing is, it goes back to the systematic racism. We're put in a situation, we're put in an environment, we're put in this, and we're born in this stuff over and over again. We were forced into it. And we are being controlled and limited the way we can move because that's all we grew up knowing to steal, knowing about drugs, knowing about all this kind of negative things. And it's just so funny. Not even haha. It's just so interesting. The fact that there was crack, there's cocaine, all this kind of stuff going on. And some people believe it was placed by the CIA to, impede us and stop us from growing as a black community. So we're given that. And then now, more recently, white people are using drugs and they're dying and they're this, and the rich white people are upset. Oh, we need to make a stand. There's commercials about it. If you need help, you can contact this number. And there's nothing but white people in that commercial. And all of a sudden now we have to take the opioid and all the drug issues more seriously because it's affecting your people. If it doesn't affect white people, there won't be change. But the interesting part is when you realize it, if it doesn't affect rich white people, there won't be change. Because when the school shootings are going on, a lot of white kids are dying, middle class kids are dying. There has to be any gun change and change in the guns, no AR-14, whatever, those AR-15s or whatever being not allowed in the streets anymore, being sold in the country. They have firearms, like the pistols or whatever, and all these other people that they want. Shotguns is fine to protect your home, protect your property, fine. But why should there be AR-15s? Why? In the streets, why? Why is it so easy to get something like that? But the rich white people want to protect that. So it's, I'm not saying, of course, I'm not saying all white people are evil. Of course, I'm not saying that. And because a lot of white people, a lot of different cultures and everybody is helping with this movement. But it shouldn't be like this. It shouldn't have taken this long for this stuff to happen. Imagine how many black folks actually died before there were phone cameras or camera phones. Imagine how many people that died in the South just for walking down the street. I mean, there's evidence of people, picking themselves up, like they said Kimberly said, pick themselves up, create a lot better life for themselves, but they have it taken away because they're black, because of jealousy. But there's one thing so if anybody gets upset about what's going on, listen to what she said, that's one. And if you're still upset, ask yourself one question. Would you trade your life for a black man in America? Would you trade your life? So, the movie Trading Places with oh God, not Nick Nolte. God, what's his name? Dan Aykroyd. Yeah, I think it's Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy. I forgot the lady's name. That was in it too. But anyway, you see that movie. You see that what happens when they traded the places from one poor black man and made him into a rich guy. He became very educated, started doing things the right way, started making good, smart decisions in the financial district and everything. Then you have the white guy, and his life is pretty much plummets, goes downhill. That's a perfect example of what is happening. So don't say, oh, black on black crime and this and that or whatever. If you take all those people in those ghettos and all this stuff, all those places, and bring them out into more of a white area, a white people setting, see what will happen. Would they need to steal? No. Why do you need to steal? They already have everything. Or they probably work harder. Oh, I can get that if I have this job. They'll work. Majority of them will. But you automatically assume that, oh, if they're doing it to themselves, they're doing it to themselves. No, they're not doing it to themselves. That's how they're raised. That's the environment they're in. Thank God my mom, because when we first came to this country, we stayed in Teaneck. And eventually we lived in a basement, one room, and my mom wanted us to move out and to find something fun. She got a better job and we went to Patterson. Now imagine if we stayed in Patterson. Imagine, would I be able to buy my own house? Would I be able to go to college and do all that stuff? Maybe, most likely not. But she got us out. She got us back into Teaneck. And helped make that move help me. Now, I'm not saying Patterson is that bad, but there is, by the numbers, it is bad. I could have probably had somebody pregnant by now. And then following that cycle. My mom got us out of there before it was too late. And then we end up in Teaneck. And then, the rest is history. There's a whole idea of nature versus nurture, but in these kind of situations, you're born into something. You're gonna end up, being a part of that and replicating that. You might be like maybe out of 10 people, there might be one that actually decides to leave and do better or whatever. But then again, I want to say something too, is the fact that that one group of people, that one person that decides to lead those 10 people that are doing, the negative things that people see on TV, the drug dealing, all that kind of stuff, that one person will be considered a sellout. That's something I have a problem with the black community. Just because he's trying to get a job, just because he's trying to put on a suit on, and trying to live, in my mind, in my eyes, the American dream. Buying a house, having a job, That whole white picket fence stuff. He's considered a sellout. So that's one of my gripes I have when it comes to the black community. But all the other stuff, like, it's set up. The system is set up for them to fail, for us to fail. When I say them, is the ones that are, still in there. I mean, granted, I'm not out of it yet either, because I know that if I try to climb any higher at a certain point, I'm gonna get stopped too. And that's my goal, to climb higher. That's my goal as an immigrant. I was not born here, but I know there's a lot of more opportunity here than in Jamaica. I decided to come here and make something incredible for myself. Take advantage of all the opportunities I'm given. All the opportunities I'm given. And I see that. Some people don't see that. Some people born here don't see that the opportunities. All you have to do is leave the area where you're in, but you can't leave the area that you're in, because you don't want to leave your family. You don't want to leave your boys. You don't want to leave any, all these kind of different reasons that you have not to leave the situation or the place that you're in. But if you have more people, if you see more African Americans are given chances, given opportunities, this country can be great. And that's something else too that doesn't make sense to me. That I don't understand how certain white people don't realize that if you give more black people opportunities on loans, on this and that, whatever, to build their life up, that's going to be more people paying taxes. That's going to be more businesses being opened up. That means more taxes again. That means more jobs created. That means more people paying taxes again. And it builds and it builds and it builds. And that means the economy will be a lot better. Instead of people staying home, being on welfare, there's like a what you call it, like an ongoing circle. The kids are brought in, oh, I just go on welfare. I'm gonna pop out 4 or 5 kids, and that's it. I just collect welfare. So it's like a sense of slavery. You probably won't vote. You probably won't do your research about voting or who's actually getting in or whatever. So you're at bay. You're just like in like a little box in your own world, now realizing the potential that you can achieve, all the stuff that you can actually do if you got out of that circle or that cycle. If you went out, read books, do all that stuff. So this whole podcast is not just attack on white supremacy and all this kind of stuff, and that's something that just baffles me to begin with. It's just the fact that there's still the KKK is alive and well, and there's nothing being done to stop that. There's still white supremacy going on. These people are out there with signs saying white supremacy, white supremacy. There was a video I just saw today where in New Jersey, in the north, not the south, in New Jersey, which is I think is in South Jersey, people are protesting, walking by, police cars or whatever are driving, trying to protect the protesters, which I find very interesting. I guess that's going to happen all the time, but I guess it was more profound because the police probably knew that there's white supremacy in that area. But anyway, long story short, there's a group of white people. One white person's on the ground, and another white guy has his knee on his back, more upper back than his neck. And, they were screaming things back and forth. There's white people in the protest, of course, screaming back at him. And there's a sign talking about white supremacy, and it says Trump 2020. Now, I'm trying my best to give it the shadow of it, try to give him a chance to say maybe Trump's not a racist or whatever. But the people you hang around with and they're supporting you are white supremacists. And what's the saying goes is guilt by association. And when the whole thing with the Park Five, Central Park Five happened, you were the first person to say that, oh, put them all in jail, put them all in jail, whatever, and all this stuff. But when it finally came out that they weren't the victims of it, or I mean the criminals, the one that committed the crime, what happened? You didn't say you're sorry, you didn't do anything. I mean, you don't apologize to anybody anyway, so I'm not really thinking about that. I think that honestly, I think he's very egotistical. He can never be wrong, so I don't think, to some extent, is he racist? It wouldn't surprise me if he is, but I think he's just more because he's egotistical. He's sexist, for sure. If he's racist, I wouldn't be surprised, but he's definitely sexist. Come on. He's definitely sexist. Let's be serious. I don't know how white women or women in general can vote for him, but you know, it is what it is. We try to look beyond the negative with certain people, try to look at the positive and see what people are doing, um, their actions. But it's like, you're telling cops it's okay to hurt people you have in custody. When Gardner died, you made fun of the fact that he was choking on camera, and it's just stuff like that. So all I'm trying to say, people, is make sure you educate yourself. Even if you're Democrat, even if you're Republican and you don't like what's going on, educate yourself to know what you're saying, what you're spitting out is right. I need to do that, more. A lot of people need to do that more. Um, and try to stop looking at the bad stuff all the damn time. If every bad thing you post on Facebook or Instagram, make sure you put like two good things. Maybe like a picture of a puppy or something, you know? Um, I mean, more recently now, I made a video of this on YouTube as the whole thing with CrossFit, and Greg Glassman making just racial, things, jokes or whatever. And now a lot of people are backing out of CrossFit. Reebok is discontinuing their relationship at the end of this year. Rogue is immediately suspending their relationship with CrossFit. And a lot of these affiliate gyms, a lot of these big time CrossFitters, the Rich Fronings, the Søren's daughter, there's like, all these different CrossFitters are coming out and saying, no, I'm not going to stand this. And actually, this one African American lady that I follow and actually watch one of her videos talking about how there is separation or a hint of racism in CrossFit when it comes to the actual corporate setting, the higher up part of it. Um, there's one interview, that article I read said that, Matt, do you know, is there any African Americans that work here at the headquarters? Because they were interviewing with Glassman, another person that worked in the headquarters, and they asked, is there any African Americans that work in the headquarters? They said they don't know. Both of them said that they don't know. You find Glassman maybe might not know. Let's say hypothetically speaking, he doesn't know. He's busy, whatever. He's making decisions, whatever. Barely there. Just spits out what he wants for 1 hour, then leave. Like most CEOs, they do that. They just say what they want and have the people under them do all the work. But then you have somebody actually is there, on a regular basis. Oh, I don't know. So now it's going around that CrossFit, or the company CrossFit, not the community, the people that are working out on a regular basis and all this stuff, the gym owners, not saying that they're racist, but the company, the actual headquarters is racist or has a hint of racism, and not having a lot of African Americans get involved, or brown people, whatever you want to say, get involved in the games. And like I said in my video, talking about this, it's maybe because they were they to dominate the sport, because 70% of the NFL is African Americans, or are African Americans. I don't know. I I don't know. There's just so much more stuff to say. I mean, this podcast definitely is going on for like an hour and a half almost. Um, but I just hope my point's getting across. Um, to educate yourself. Um, and if you still think that what's going on is wrong, we'll just go back to how everything was. I'm tired of this. People shouldn't be outside like this together and all this kind of stuff. Just ask yourself, would you trade your life for an African American man? Now, I'm going to say African American man. I'm not going to say woman. I'm not saying women don't go through hardships either. I'm not saying that. Because there's different situations that I've read and I know. I didn't know, but I read that black men are hanged, women that were even pregnant are hung. Black women that are pregnant, and they will cut the woman's stomach open to make sure the baby's dead. That's how it is. And then the thing is like the whole idea of picnic. Now I thought the idea of picnic meant pick a nigga. You pick a nigga, and all these white people have the family and the friends together. They gather, and they just pick one black person to hang. That's how I thought the word picnic came from. The word picnic didn't come from that. It came from it was a French word. It meant what it is. It's like people can gather around and have a picnic. But from like the late 1990s, the 1890s or mid 1800s, whatever it was, till the early 1900s, there will be a picnic where you pick a nigga and hang him. Over 4,000 people, 4,000 blacks were killed during that period. It was like an event, like the Super Bowl, and not in the really Super Bowl. Super Bowl like once a year, but it's like a Sunday dinner. You meet every Sunday or whatever. You have dinner with your family, or a picnic with your family, whatever it is, on Sunday or Saturday, whenever it happened, and you pick a black person to hang, and you watch him being hung while you enjoy your tea and crumpets or whatever the hell you did. That happened. That stuff happened. But it's not being taught in school. So black people know their history, and white people know what they did, what their grandparents did, so they don't replicate it, don't duplicate. And that's what my mentor said. My mentor, my client that I talked about politics, he is Italian. His parents, I think his parents or his grandparents came from another country, came from, they're immigrant. I think it was actually his parents when they were young. And we talk about this all the time. Stuff like this should not happen. And he's always saying, Shane, you need to know your education, you need to learn your history, you need to know your history. Not just my history, all history. All history, not just African American history. He say all history because he's a Vietnam vet, and that's something else too. Let's go down to the flag. Let's talk about the flag. So if I'm not mistaken, how everything's going on right now, oh, you're disrespecting the veterans and all that kind of stuff by not having a hand on his chest. Granted, the whole thing with Kaepernick, he went to a Marines veteran. Actually, the veteran actually told him he can kneel. It's just, it's more respectful than you sitting down. But anyway, let's not talk about that right now. Let's talk about the whole idea of the veterans. Oh, you're disrespecting the veterans. All the white people are saying disrespecting the veterans. When the veterans came back from Vietnam, what did you guys do? You guys do stuff at them. Oh, you're baby killers. You're this, you're that. All these bunch of white people protested against them. But now all of a sudden after 9/11 happened, oh, our veterans, we got to fight for our country. Don't disrespect them. I love veterans. Way more U.S. flags are being flown all over the place. But granted, I did my research about this. There's rules when it comes to the flag. There's certain things you cannot do when it comes to the flag. Of course, you can't burn it. That's obvious. You can't have it on your underwear. You can't have it on your person, pretty much. You can't use it to sell merchandise. So all these Memorial Day sales, all these 4th of July sales, all these kind of stuff that's going on, it's forgotten. It's forgotten when it comes to money, when it comes to white people making their money. You can have it on a post, have it in front of your house. That's fine. But you can't have it on your boxer shorts. You can't have it on your t-shirts to sell. Anything when it pertains to merchandise, you cannot do. And there's a slew of things. There's actually how to get rid of a flag, how to, dispose of a flag. There's certain procedures when it comes to that stuff. But people don't talk about that. Oh, you got to stand for the flag. And Drew Brees, I like the guy. And I already forgave the guy, to be honest with you, because he admitted what he did was wrong. And people say, oh, because he's on this pressure to do that and all this kind of stuff. But if you think about it, what he said his forefathers, and this is what Shannon Sharpe said too. I'm not going to take away what he's the one that said this, not me. It was a very good point. So Drew Brees said that, oh, you're disrespecting the flag. My forefathers, my fathers are in the military, they Navy, and this and that. They fought for these freedoms. They fought for this, whatever. So you're disrespecting the flag, disrespecting them and what their forefathers did. From his perspective, yeah, it's just disrespecting the flag. But let's look at the big picture here. A lot of people don't do. They don't look at the big picture and look at look at how everybody else is being affected or how this affects everybody in general. They look at themselves, their perception. And that's why I'm happy all this stuff's going on, because people are trying to see, the people are seeing white people or different cultures seeing the other perspective from other people, from black people, I should say. So then Shannon Sharpe replied by saying he didn't know that it was only his father and his grandfather was in there fighting the wars. It was only white people that were fighting. No, there was black people fighting those wars. World War I, World War II, the Civil War, all that kind of stuff. It was other people in those wars, not just white people. And that's what it goes back to the history, American history. They portray that white men did everything for this country. They created everything for this country. They fought for this country. There's only white men in this country that did stuff. But in reality, there was black men right there next to them. So what did it say? It was saying that how they said they stopped white men. Then they stopped black men. George Washington said, no, black men, don't give any black men any gun. They cannot fight. They're not going to be in our armies or whatever. But England said, hey, if you fight for us, we'll give you your freedom. And right away, what happened? George Washington changed it and said, hey, no, we need them. We need them. Give them guns to fight for our freedom. And it's so funny and interesting, the fact that you had these black people fighting for this war between two white people, white groups, one from England, one from America, to help give the white people their freedom. So the joke is, the slaves were fighting to help Master get his freedom. Then what happened? Master got their freedom. Then what happened? Slavery, slavery began. Became really, really high. It became, and then World War I happened. World War II happened. Black people were involved, of course, and probably other races too were involved. But black people helping, doing their part, whatever, serving in the military. And then what happened? The Tuskegee Airmen, the discrimination still happened. All this kind of different stuff happened. So we're helping America fight a war to make sure America is free. But in reality, when we came back and war is over, what happened? We're still fighting for our freedom. But Drew Brees didn't see that. Drew Brees didn't see that at all. Drew Brees saw from his perspective, his perception, is that we're disrespecting the flag. America's great. America's a perfect place to be. If you're white in America, yeah, it's perfect. If you're black or maybe an other culture, brown or whatever, no, it isn't. If you're white, it's perfect. But he's learning his lesson, and he realizes that what he did was wrong, what he said was wrong, and he's learning from his mistakes. He's learning from what he said. And it's scary. It's scary. God, I've been talking. I need to drink some water. Now, like I said before, I'm I'm not from this country. I came up here when I was 4 years old. I'm an immigrant, first generation, whatever you want to say. I'm not second, whatever. Sorry. And I've seen things, and I experienced things. I read things, and I understand everything that's going on for the most part. But there has to be some type of change. There has to be some type of reform. There has to be some type of change. I don't know politics. I don't know all that stuff really well, but I know a group of people should not be afraid to walk outside or live their life because they're worried that they might get shot, might get arrested, might get this just because of their skin color. That is not right. That is not fair. It doesn't matter. It does not matter what you're saying. Unless you're white supremacist, you don't care. You want black people, to go away, or you want them to bring back slavery or whatever you're thinking. But if you're a rational person, not a racist person, but a rational person, you have to understand that you have to listen and educate yourself on what's been going on for the past 450 years. Because it's not being taught in school anymore about this stuff. It's not being taught at all. And that's something else that should need to be, that should change. The idea of America is like the best place on the earth. Is Disneyland compared to everybody, everywhere else. It has its faults, but we have to learn about the faults so we can make it great. And like I said, I do not think America was ever great. There was oppression, there was racism, there was separation, all this kind of stuff, hatred going on. It was never great. I think it can be great, but it has never been great. If it is great to white people, white men, it has been great. White straight men, white straight Christian men, it has been great. But not for everybody. And because of that, it's never been great. So anyway, please educate yourself. There's so much more stuff to learn. And also don't fall into the rabbit hole when you see something negative. Don't, just keep falling and falling into the rabbit hole, of all the negativity. Read something more positive. There's a lot of good cops out there. There's a lot of good peaceful protests out there. There's a lot of good things happening right now. There's more good things than bad, but it's not being promoted because the negativity, the bad stuff, that's what sells newspapers, that's what sells advertisements, that's what people make their money from. So learn as much as you can, read as much as you can. All the stuff you might not agree with what I said, but look it up yourself. If you don't know about Tulsa, Arizona, Black Wall Street, if you don't know about Rosewood, Florida, read about it, learn about it. If you don't think I was right, oh, pregnant women were hanged and their stomach were cut open, read about it. I think it's called the Tree of Woe. Read about that stuff. Talk to somebody if you're white, talk to somebody that's black. If you're black, talk to somebody else that's black and more mature than you or older than you, or read the books. There's African American studies, there's classes, there's courses, and read about it. Read about the history of the country, not just about one particular race though, because it's not only black people that suffered, there's other people that suffered too and still are suffering, i.e. the Native Americans. There should not be a separation between races. There should not be, of course, there's going to be separation between economic, the upper class, the lower class, that kind of thing. But that's another fight for another day. But majority of the lower class are African Americans, and that's not right. So we have to figure out why. Why is a fact. Like Kimberly said, why are majority of blacks trying to fight and loot and do all this stuff just to just to survive. Why? Look at the system. The system is made to impede us, to hinder us from growing. They put us in this group, in these areas, and generation after generation after generation, we're taught to be on welfare, to be Democrats, to be, Republicans are all racist. That whole education, we're taught to believe that. Just understand something. I'm gonna leave with this. It was a Democratic Party that did not want slavery to stop. The Democratic Party did not want slavery to stop. Look it up, read it. Read it and understand. The Democratic Party did not want slavery to stop. The Democratic South did not want slavery to stop. And it was a Republican, Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln, it was a Republican that fought to stop slavery. A Republican. I mean, granted, like I said, reparations were given to slave owners, whatever. But I think that was after he died, but whatever. But think about that for a second. I'm not saying all Democrats are racist. I'm not saying all Democrats are non-racist and they're trying to help black people. I'm not saying all Republicans are racist. I'm not saying all Republicans are not. But educate yourself. Don't read a headline and say, oh, cop shoots unarmed black men. And then immediately, oh, I hate fucking cops. Read the article, read the information, read what's going on. Read the fine print of everything. Don't just read the headline. I've done that too. I've done that many times. I just read the headline and then I regurgitated somebody else, from a headline, not from an article. But educate yourself, read, and understand what's going on. Me myself, I feel like I'm personally in the middle when it comes to politics. I'm in the middle. I look at the person. I try not to look at the party. And it's hard nowadays to do something like that because either one news is reporting on the left or one news reporting on the right. It's never like in between. It's hard to find something that's in between. That's giving out the facts, being objective and giving out the facts. So I can educate myself and make an informed decision on who to elect. So get out, educate yourself, vote, we are in a sense, black people are in some type of bondage, and minorities are in type of bondage, but we can educate ourselves, we can make good decisions to put people in play that will make good decisions for us when it comes to laws and, all this stuff that we need changes to be made. Because we can protest, walk the streets and do all that stuff, but we have to make changes on the upper level. And I really appreciate whoever listened to this whole thing. It's been over an hour and a half of this, but I really appreciate whoever listened to this whole thing. Please, if you didn't listen to this whole thing and skip through it, just understand what I'm trying to say. Just educate yourself, listen to people, don't just see things from your point of view, your perspective. Listen to everybody, and make informed decisions. Just don't read the headline. Make informed decisions. Okay? If you're not white, educate yourself still. If just because you're black doesn't mean you know everything. White people, educate yourself. See the life of a black person. Talk to a black person. Understand what's going on. Read up on your history. Black people read up on your history too. And like I said, not only your history, everybody else. The Asian history, coming to America, the Native American history, all the stuff that they had to go through. Read up on American history. Not just the American white man, American history as a whole. Anyway, guys, this is a long ass podcast. I don't think I ever will do anything like this again. I hope I won't have to. Hopefully I don't need to. Hopefully the changes happen. But I really appreciate whoever listened to the whole thing. But this is my point of view from things. And hopefully you understand the message. Okay. Thank you so much for listening. Like I said, think positive and positive things will happen. I hope to God it happens. Thank you. Bye.